Time now for our McQuaid Mission Action Panel. This is the place to talk strategy and solutions when it comes to our community's homeless and affordable housing situation. With us, as always, Amy Schwabenlander, CEO. Yeah, you heard me hesitate a little bit. At Keys to Change, formerly known as the Human Services Campus. We're going to talk more about that in a minute. The man in the bow tie, Jackson Fonder, CEO at UMOM. Returning to the main stage, we're so excited to have them back. Richard Cruz, he is the program director at Keys to Change, and Letitia Tish Brown Gambino, executive director of the Key Campus. That was hard for me to get out because a lot of the name changes and the different roles and the different titles, but we're going to get to that in a minute. I know. Thank you. Okay. Before we start, a couple of headlines we want to talk about. Amy, kick us off here because new year and a big finish to 2023. A lot of people in this room were at the I Am Home Breakfast. So kind of wrap us up. How did that event go and what came out of it?
Well, Eric, when we met in December on stage, it was in advance of the event, and we talked about the program we had lined up for the I Am Home Breakfast. It was held on December 15th, and thanks to about 40 sponsor organizations, 600 in-person participants, dozens of people online, we hit our $1 million goal.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, want to use this opportunity to again thank Avondale Toyota, our signature sponsor, for several years in a row. Thank Derek Hall, who was there as a co-host with Jonathan Coppell on stage, and everyone who has supported us financially through that event. It really makes a big difference. We're going to talk about some other funding headlines. It's a big deal to raise $1 million at an event, and really, if we could do that 3 more times in a year, that would be fantastic.
And we're talking about making dents here. So Jackson, another headline, Governor Hobbs, the state announcing $89 million to combat homelessness, provide affordable housing. And, you know, we see these big numbers get thrown around, but, you know, what's the message behind the headlines?
Well, first, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Right, that's good. Well, I tend to peel back the onion just a little bit.
Right.
I like to know the details. I mean, when you look at it, it's you got about $40 million of grants that are out there to awesome organizations like Keys to Change, Keys to Change, and Catholic Charities, St. Vincent de Paul, but also City of Phoenix, City of Sedona, City of Tucson, so spread out throughout the state on those preventative funds for homelessness. But there's also $49 million in affordable housing. You heard Nicole just briefly mention how we lack affordable housing here, and so the more we can build, the better. So we're excited that next week, UMOM has a groundbreaking ceremony for our next affordable housing project. That's going to be done in the Isaac School District, and that is the first property that's being built, first affordable housing project to be built on school property in the state of Arizona. So we're pretty excited about it.
That's exciting. And I think the message, though, to take away, right, is, like you said, this is the first, but this is a repeatable solution here.
It is, and it's good to be a part of the solution. There's a lot of people in this room and folks up here on the stage. There's times that you got to pause for a minute and realize we're making progress. We're making dents, as you like to say, and that's a good thing.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about another good thing. Again, if you were at the I Am Home Breakfast and you heard us kind of talking about it and me struggling through it, Human Services Campus, Inc. has a new look. The campus itself will now be known, there's a great shot there, as the Key Campus. And the organization will be known as Keys to Change. Yeah, we can applaud that because there's that new logo. So I think more importantly, Amy, is, you know, this is more than a name change. This isn't just a rebrand of something. What's behind this, and then what's the benefit here to the community?
It really is a big milestone for us. I think when, you know, decades from now, people look back at what was the Human Services Campus, what was going on in this space, all these funding things and all these changes, and this is a transitional moment for our organization. It's a long time coming. The campus opened in 2005, and McQuaid Mission is named after our friend and co-founder Mike McQuaid. And after I started, I said, you know, why is it called the Human Services Campus? It sounds like a government department, or people don't know why, like what happens here. And he thought maybe it was the government that named it. So it was a public-private partnership that built the Human Services Campus, and the county owned the property when it opened, and it probably didn't have a lot of effort going into creating a brand and how do we want to talk about this place, and we don't even know what it's going to do when it opened. And he was all for changing the name, and he was ready, of course, in Mike McQuaid style, to just brainstorm, he and I, and come up with a new name that day. And I suggested perhaps we pause and talk to some more people, because a lot
Mike
of people.
was ready to rename it that afternoon.
You know, he
Yeah.
was a business owner. He made decisions and implemented them. And so then pandemic and lots of other change. And then with Mike's passing, people called and asked us, were we going to rename the campus for Mike? And we used it as an opportunity to really launch into a consultant-driven, long process to get input from people who were part of creating the campus in the early 2000s, people who have supported it financially and with their time over all these years, the people who receive services there, the people who work there, to say, what would be names that would reflect what you feel when you're here, what's our role as an organization. At the same time, our organization, this 501c3, also called Human Services Campus, began to do things not at 12th Avenue in Madison. And I think when you and I have talked, you're like, well, why would HSC go do public policy advocacy? It's like, well, we have an organization and a place, and they happen to be the same name, and we want to end homelessness, so we're doing these other things. And so we decided to rename the 501c3 and rename the place. So if I might use my prop, it might be loud because there's a lot of keys on it. This is all for the place at 12th Avenue in Madison, which is a little frightening. However, if you imagine this is keys to change. Oh, and go Arizona Coyotes. If you imagine this is keys to change, this is our organization, and we feel like solutions are needed across the spectrum to really reduce and end homelessness. And we hold a lot of those keys ourselves. One is the place, the key campus, which you saw the tagline is, I had to write the taglines down because I don't have those memorized yet. Key campus, unlocking the way home, is one key. Project Connect, the events we take around the valley, are a key. Bridge housing is a key. So as we really rebrand, we haven't updated the website yet, so stay tuned. The message will change to how there are multiple keys, there are multiple solutions and strategies towards ending homelessness. And we want to move and make progress on all of them and really hit that idea of the goal of functional zero. And so today, today's Tish's first day, almost at her 1-year anniversary, with a new title of Executive Director, Key Campus. Tish is the campus at 12th Avenue in Madison. And it frees up Richard and I to spend time on the advocacy work and policy and the regional solution. So we'll be changing Richard's title from Programs Director to something that reflects keys to change and working on strategic initiatives, doing more with Nicole and the Arizona Housing Coalition, working on the long-term change that's really going to move the needle to functional zero.
Well, Richard, I want to talk to you because it's the way she teed that up, so much momentum. So what impact here, when you see this new name, this new brand, not a new mission, but an extension of the mission, what goes through your mind?
Well, it definitely gives the opportunity to breathe life into work that we've been doing, but now we can do it in a different way, right? And so when we're talking about the different keys and what needs to happen at a systems level to be able to eliminate and end homelessness, this is that moment and that opportunity, right? Because we have to go into all of these various spaces to talk about, okay, so what is keys to change, so we can clear that up for various stakeholders. But then we can have those conversations with groups, right? So we can have conversations with the hospitals, with access, with government, with public safety. We can have conversations at that systems level to help them to understand how they are the key to making the change that they want to see, as opposed to just trying to think of it in an abstract way around, okay, so I see this homelessness thing, but I don't know how to get into it. We really want to be able to engage the entire community, engage the entire system, because it is a systems issue. right? It's so often something that people see and they assign individual blame to, but the real cause of homelessness is an inequitable system, and we can't tackle that inequitable system without having policy changes, without talking to like government and business stakeholders at that level, because that's where the change really has to take place.
So Richard's going out in the community, but Tish, you know, Amy just said your new role is what's going on at the campus. So
Yes.
what's happening at the campus now? And I know that's where you're going to be.
Yes, key campus. I am the campus.
And the
That's
campus is
wonderful.
you. You are the
And the
campus.
campus is me.
Yeah.
They say
Yes,
that all the
yes,
time, all day.
yes.
So I actually have a prop. I've been getting a
You
lot
guys
of
are just
keys.
sharing props.
A lot of keys. I wear a key. So everybody giving me keys. It's okay to stop now. It's okay to stop. A lot of keys. But you know what we do on campus, I mean, unlocking the way home, it's critical because we see about 1,200 individuals a day. And some of those individuals are not connected to the campus. So we literally welcome them to the campus at a welcome center where they're assessed for housing needs, and they also get referred to 15 of our campus partners. They may start off at Circle the City for healthcare. They may be referred through Circle the City to our dental clinic, and then from the dental clinic, which is called Brighter Way, I don't want anybody to say, she didn't name the clinic, Brighter Way, and they may just rotate through to the LDRC, which is our resource center. And our resource center, they can get ID, they get attached to entitlement services through DES, they get Social Security assistance through our Homeless Project ID. So all these services are critical to getting our folks back on their feet and on their way home. And this is just a piece of what we do. I mean, we work with CAS, shelter, every night, close to 600 individuals. And we also have our own overflow, which not many folks know that, you know, sometimes we get up to 300 folks in our overflow at night. So we have a very active campus after hours. So when folks are going home at 5 o'clock, we're a 24/7 operation.
Yep.
We don't go home. We don't go home.
And if you haven't seen the campus yet, and I know there are a lot of community leaders in the room, please schedule a tour with Amy, with Tish, so you get a chance to see that. Jackson, we were just talking about Nicole, Arizona Housing Coalition, a lot of voices in the homeless space in this room. It's not just one organization that is going to do this. When you see something like this, and you know, a brand and a mission, what goes on in your mind?
Which is also tough to do. It's tough to rebrand.
Yeah.
I think it's difficult, but we can hear it. It's too bad they're not passionate about their work, right? You know, you can hear it in their voices how thoughtful they've been in terms of their approach. I mean, at their very essence, when you look at their mission, is collaboration. And isn't that interesting that that's the approach they took, and even the rebranding and the name change is around collaboration. So everybody else outside of the campus, you know, we want you to succeed, and we'll do whatever it takes to make sure you succeed. We're tied at the hip, so everybody's rooting for them. I promised Amy I wouldn't say the word that it's exciting, but it is exciting. I think it's good stuff.
Speaking of passion about their jobs, so Richard, I'm going to go back to you with a question. And we have, you know, a lot of corporate leaders in the room. What's the message to the business community, those for-profits, as we've talked so much about on this show? You know, you guys are businesses too, but what's the message here for for-profits that are looking to partner, you know, looking to join this fight with you? Because you did such a good job there sort of describing, you're showing them what the key could be.
Yeah, so in the last segment, it was said that fear is the mind killer,
Yeah.
right? But I also want to say that fear is the society killer also. And so like this notion of how do you get comfortable with diving into your discomfort, right? Like if you're afraid of that, like that's really what I'm inviting you to dive into, because homelessness and dealing with the seediness of homelessness isn't something that's comfortable, right? Like you've got to have conversations around how are you creating homelessness within your company? Like what does that look like? What are the pieces that you can prevent, right? So what I invite you to do is to come along with us, right? To get to action, right? But know that doing that, it's going to be uncomfortable. Right, it's not always the pretty photo op, right? It's actually like we can do the pretty photo ops, but then we have to have real conversations in your like boardrooms around like, okay, now what can you really do to help solve this problem? because the problem is solvable. It's not something that's so huge that we can't do it. No, like all of the money's there, right? It's just where does that money go, right? All of the willingness is there. It's a matter of, like I said, are you willing to take not just the one step, but that second step forward, right? Like it's all here and it's in the room, right? But we just have to do it, right? So that's what. So what I would say is, if fear is the mind killer, then your ability to, like, I didn't have something really cute, but but your ability to dive in is what gives life. So join us in breathing life into this city.
How about that, Gina? Yeah. Absolutely. So you guys all brought props, and then you gave me a prop, Amy. Yeah. So Jody, I don't know if you can get a shot of this. Maybe that works. This is a book called Homeless as a Housing Problem for our live studio audience. We're going to do a giveaway with this right after this is an actionable item, right, Amy? This is homework for anybody who wants to join us.
Anyone who wants to have a conversation, encourage you to read the book. It helps bust the myths. It chips away at the assumptions I used to make about who's homeless and why. And it lays out a great foundation and a case for the solutions to preventing and ending homelessness.
And very digestible for those of us who maybe aren't in the homeless space to really understand what those key takeaways are. Round of applause, please, for a tremendous